courtroom showdown that's more explosive than any reunion episode. Stay locked in because this isn't over. It's just getting lethal. This was a full-fledged purging of evidence. Let's discuss receipts. Apparently, Chrissy maintained a thorough relationships ledger. A detailed spreadsheet documenting every cent she ever spent on gym flights, clothing, bail money, haircuts, grills, and even whitening trays. For his teeth, all of this was documented with interest. But this is where things get twisted. She apparently used the spreadsheet as a weapon during an argument when Jim requested space. Chrissy supposedly responded, 82 of 311 by 47 states. I'm not going away. This isn't love. It's a beauty influencer negotiating a hostage situation with Excel and lipstick. That's the title of the documentary series. She apparently shopped around 2-3 networks, but guess who she didn't loop in? One of the executives repeatedly asked Jim Jones, "Is Jim involved with this project?" Chrissy responded, "No, but it's my version of events." That's when the transaction fell through. But hold on. This is not the end of the mess. This is where the lines start to blur between public scandal and outright sabotage. Because what followed next was more than simply shade. Cameron walked into the courtroom as if beckoned by karma herself. There was no PR smile or Hollywood strut, just icy precision and a file folder labeled Confidential C+J, which contained proof. Heavy. Chrissy's meticulously manicured kingdom did not simply tilt. It started crumbling. Cam's entrance was described by one courtroom staffer as a calm before a legal hurricane. He was not there to support anyone. He came to settle old scores and brought receipts. The prosecutors opened that folder. Everyone froze on the first page. A high-quality bank scan, although not under Jim's name. Not even Chrissy's. It said Christina Santiago. Chrissy's prior beauty brand had the same date of birth and address, but the account was located offshore in the Cayman Islands. The B transactions are suspect, sometimes amounting to $25,000 or $50,000. 8. Okay. All categorized as consultancy services for a TV corporation that doesn't even exist in any official records. By the fourth page, a juror requested a break. Not a joke, but Cam only got warmed up. He handed out another bombshell, an invoice trail related to a women's empowerment foundation Chrissy spearheaded during her alleged comeback season. Cam's legal team revealed devastating details. Nearly $190,000 in donor money was redirected to private enterprises tied Tucky's personal brand. How was the money spent? Not on empowerment, but on glamour. Squad's promotion, shoots, image consultants, including a line item titled Reunion Episode. Wardrobe. Yep. By now, it is alleged that charity funds were used to stage a stunt on reality television. Chrissy appeared to be short-circuiting, with her mouth clenched and her fingers twitching. Her attorney leaned in. Somebody muttered something, but she did not flinch or blink. She just stared ahead, frozen in the courtroom spotlight. Then came the video. A pixelated hotel hallway. Miami. Chrissy and stilettos are pacing as if they had received bad news. The phone was pushed to her ear, with muffled yet deadly clear sounds. I told you that if Cam talks, we are done. He has proof. He has backups. I told Jim to shut it down, but he wouldn't listen. Mike dropped. The room fell silent. Chrissy's lawyer jumped up with a privacy objection. Prosecution clapped back. The footage was obtained legally via subpoena. The judge admitted into evidence because what Chrissy feared was already happening. Her whole image, the strong ride or die woman, was unraveling what replaced it, a portrait of manipulation, duplicity, and possibly fraud. The final nail in the coffin came from a former VH1 production assistant. Let's call her C. Nervous. The voice was shaking, but ready to burn everything down. Her first words: Chrissy used to bribe us by slipping cash under the table and cutting scenes that made she looks awful. I saw her threaten a senior editor once, telling him that if he aired the footage, he'd never work again. The jury flinched. Chrissy finally buried her face into her palms. But C wasn't finished yet. She also filed fraudulent invoices, claimed travel reimbursements for shoots that never occurred. One trip was to see Turks and Cows. She called it script development. But today was her birthday. I was there, and through it all, Cam sat silently in the gallery. No reaction, no smirk, just ice-cold compasser, like Eamon, who didn't need to say anything anymore since the truth was suddenly shouting from courtroom speakers. Meanwhile, outside of the courthouse pandemonium, bloggers are live streaming. Instagram provides updates every 2 minutes. Twitter, on Flames and Mems Merciless One had Chrissy mid-cry with the caption, "When you bet the house on manipulation and it goes for closure." Another showed Cameron walking out in colors, with courtroom cam, reality TV cam, but the most vicious one split photo left side. Jim and Chrissy smiling throughout the VH1 years right side courtroom skits with the headline "Power, Couple or Power Scam." And then just before the drama erupted, a black SUV rolled up to the courthouse's side in transit Jim. No bling, no security flex, just a hoodie, shadows beneath his eyes and a "Wake up before you lose your enthusiasm and your money." Poetic, ruthless, and down to the bone. And, guess what? The judge did not just refuse to go along. He issued an order to take action. Because, shortly after that memo, prosecutors dropped the hammer. They worked together with federal officials to delve more into Chrissy's financial past. That's correct. Subpoenas were issued flying, targeting historical production budgets, nonprofit filings, and corporate records dating back years. Her former If these allegations are true, the business manager will be subject to federal investigation. We're discussing tax avoidance, wire fraud, even the future. Ryko charges the courtroom. It literally froze. Chrissy slumped in her chair. There are no words. Cameron is in tears, with 1,000 why stares of complete amazement. He rose up, buttoned his blazer, and departed. No mic drop, no final look, simply a silent retreat while the empire burned behind him. But that wasn't the end, boss, because although the public was captivated to every leak, video, and digital flame, Yandandi Smith walked into the shy, didn't come to spectate, but to speak loudly. Yandandi takes the stand. New foes emerge from ancient shadows, and Chrissy's well-guarded House of Cards encounters the kind of wind that cannot be blocked, because if you assumed Cameron's folder was the big conclusion. But you were mistaken. The courtroom had just cooled down when the doors opened, flung open again, and in walked the name that made Chrissy flinch unexpectedly. Yandandi D. Smith has no back door. Sneak in. She stormed straight through the front heels, echoing baby hairs, draped in one hand and Bluetooth in the other. Other. Outside, reporters shouted her name, and her demeanor was stone cold. Paparazzi scrambled. The cameras flashed like warning shots. But Yandandi remained unharmed. She stared at one. She addressed the camera and stated that she had had her say. Now it's my turn inside. It was already tense. Chrissy appeared, fractured. No makeup, HOODIE. Low face down, as if the world were closing in. Jim is gone, Cameron's gone. Even Mama Jones had departed the bench, but Yandandi. She was sworn in with her opening line. The room went silent. I kept my tongue quiet out of respect for 10 years. But today, I spoke to Surbai, and she lighted the match. Dee said that during the 2013 and 2014 LHH seasons, Chrissy ran a backstitch narrative control ring. What does this mean? Bribes, threats, pressure on editors, pressure on producers, all allegedly meant to flip the narrative, making Yandi the villain while hiding Chrissy's real-life problem. One moment was like a stomach punch. I had a panic episode backstage, Chrissy told producers. I was being extra for she's the one who notified my ex where I'd be so he could confront me. Surveillance caught it. And they cut the film, eliciting gasps throughout the room. Chrissy blinked once and gazed at the floor, as if it would swallow her. But Yandi wasn't even halfway through. She pulled out emails that were time-stamped and legitimate. A message from Chrissy to a showrunner said, "If I look bad, the whole program looks bad. Clean it up." Another Yandi used to retaliate. She will survive. I won't be boss. This wasn't a drama, this was dark art, PR warfare. Yandi's legal team then handed over an old burner phone. Chrissy allegedly used the phone to connect with off-the-yard insiders throughout her time on the show. Inside texts coordinating false drama, paid feuds. Shush money for backup cast discussions about which footage to bury. One post said, pay her $1,500. Tell her it was a reimbursement for clothes. Make her sign something so she can't speak. The courtroom was stunned. And then came the unexpected twist. It turns out Yandand and Cameron had been working together for months. Not just trading notes. They were creating a timeline. A digital forensic trail of every dubious move Chrissy reportedly performed between 2011 and present. Twitter erupted again. Hashtag #sfly like confetti. Yandandi's unfiltered. Chrissygate. True love and hip-hop strategic silence. Side-by-side memes are no longer placed on blogs. Chrissy is in court, with her hoodie up and her head low. Yandandi is on the stand. Pearl has a sparkling CEO posture. TikTok broke it down frame by frame. One user said, "She did not clap back. She held the entire thunderstorm for 10 years. Another, Yondon D picked out screenshots like Marvel reveals post. Reddit scenes. And just when it looked like Chrissy couldn't descend any lower, the prosecution dropped the final tape. File. A 2019 video clip has been forensically validated. Chrissy is on the phone with VH1. Producer. If we disclose information about Jim's depression, it will distract people. Mental health makes me appear like a saint." Once again, there is silence. Even the judge took a big breath. The both appeared to be about to submit, but Jim delivered the finishing blow. Just when Jim resurfaced in court, when the rest of the world thought he had disappeared forever. A legal staff is by his side. There are no chains or conversation, only sleepy eyes and legal documents. The judge asked whether he wanted to speak. Jim stood, looked at Chrissy and stated, "I just want the record straight. I didn't know." Chrissy struggled to find words. She arose and mouthed something to him. "Maybe, please." Jim shook his head and walked away again, and that clip went viral. TikTok patched it, and it exploded. Twitter declared it the quietest microphone drop in TV scandal history. He wants to make sure nothing related to him gets entangled into lawsuits. Criminal investigations. He's done protecting her and Thypo at work. Jim turned. Stacked. We're discussing bank data, asset documents.